There's a specific kind of violence that happens when someone steals your story. When they take your identity and weaponize it before you're ready. When they decide your timeline for you. I was 22 years old when my 15-year-old sister did this to me. When she used my identity as a weapon to deflect attention from herself. And nothing was ever the same after that. If you've ever been outed, or if you're terrified it might happen to you, this story is for you. Because what happened that day, what I learned, what I survived, it changed everything. I spent 6 years carefully hiding who I was. 6 years of having women visit me as friends when they were so much more. 6 years of coded conversations, locked phones, and constant vigilance. I thought I was safe. I thought I had time to do this on my own terms. And then, my baby sister, desperate to deflect from being disciplined, said 5 words to my mother that shattered everything. "But she's a lesbian, Mummy." Just like that, my whole world exposed. Let me take you back to how this all started. I'm the eldest daughter in my family, 22 at the time, living at home while working and saving money, navigating the delicate balance of being an adult in a Nigerian household that still sees you as a child. If you know, you know. My sister, she was 15, smart, sharp-tongued, testing boundaries the way teenagers do. And that week, she'd been pushing every single one. Coming home late, lying about where she'd been, answering back with that tone that makes your blood pressure rise. I'd had enough. So I did what any responsible older sister would do. I reported her to our mother. Not to be wicked, you understand, but because she needed to learn consequences. Our mother doesn't play when it comes to discipline, and I knew she'd handle it properly. What I didn't know? My sister had been collecting information about me. CN, I'd gotten comfortable over the years. Maybe too comfortable. I'd had friends over, women I was dating, women I was close with. Private conversations in my room that maybe weren't as private as I thought. Laughter that lasted too long, looks that lingered. She'd been listening, piecing things together. Teenage girls are observant like that, you know? They see patterns, they catch tone changes, they notice when you light up talking about someone. They notice when you're too careful not to talk about someone. And she'd noticed everything. I just didn't know she was keeping it like ammunition, waiting for the right moment to use it. The day it happened, I was in my room, just existing. Maybe scrolling on my phone, maybe reading. I can't even remember now, because what came next erased everything else. I could hear my mother's voice rising from the living room. That particular pitch that means business. She was disciplining my sister, properly disciplining her. And honestly, I felt satisfied. Finally, she'd learn. Then I heard my name through the walls. My name, in the middle of her discipline session. Why was she bringing me into this? And then I heard it. Clear, deliberate, weaponized. "Why are you shouting at me? But she's a lesbian, Mummy. She's the one you should be facing." My heart stopped. Actually stopped. You know that feeling when your whole body goes cold? When time does that thing where it slows down and speeds up at the same time? I heard my mother's voice change. Not angry anymore, confused, then shocked. Then, footsteps, coming toward my room. Before I tell you what happened next, I need you to understand something. When you're outed, your brain goes into survival mode. You're not thinking clearly. You're calculating danger while in shock. And that's exactly where I was when I heard footsteps coming toward my room. I sat frozen on my bed. My hands started shaking so hard I had to sit on them. My mind was racing. Deny it. She's lying. She's just trying to cause trouble, make up something, anything. My mother opened my door. And the look on her face, I'll never forget it. Not angry, not disgusted, just searching. Like she was looking at me and trying to find something she'd missed, trying to see if it was written on my face, if it had always been there and she just hadn't noticed. Your sister just told me you're a lesbian. Her voice was so quiet, so careful. Is it true? I looked at her. This woman who raised me, who I'd been hiding from for 6 years. And something in me just broke. Not in a bad way, in a tired way. I know I'd always wanted to come out to her eventually, but not like this. I'd imagined it differently. Maybe when I was financially stable, living on my own, able to have a real heart-to-heart conversation. A proper sit-down where I could explain, where she could process. Not like this. Not ambushed. Not used as a deflection tool by my teenage sister. But what was the point of denying it now? Yes, Mummy, it's true. I'm a lesbian. The words felt like falling and flying at the same time. My mother didn't sit down. She fell. Like her legs just gave out. She dropped to the floor right there in my doorway, and she started crying. Not quiet tears, loud, dramatic crying. The kind that comes from somewhere deep, the kind that tears through you. Watching my mother cry hurt. It still hurts to remember. I wanted to comfort her. I wanted to take it back. But I also felt anger. Because I hadn't asked for this moment. This wasn't my choice. And now I was watching her grieve who she thought I was. And I had to sit with that. And then the questions started. Fast, overlapping, desperate. Why are you lesbian? Is this what you do now? Since when did this start? Did someone do something to you? I wasn't ready for these questions. I'd never prepared for this conversation because I never thought it would happen this way. I'm not ready to talk about this, Mummy, I said. She stood up, slowly, like she'd aged 10 years in 10 minutes, and walked out of my room, still crying. And I watched her back as she left, trying to process something she wasn't prepared for. Here's what nobody tells you about being outed. Yes, you lose control of your narrative. Yes, it's violent and violating. But sometimes it also removes a weight you didn't realize was crushing you. I'd spent 6 years performing, 6 years carefully monitoring who I talked to, how I talked about certain people, trying as much as possible not to give implying signals, making sure my phone was always locked, my social media was clean, my conversations were coded. I'd been living like I was under surveillance, because in a way, I was. And my sister, in her thoughtlessness, in that split-second decision to save herself, had just kicked down the door I'd been guarding with my life. The secret was out. The worst-case scenario I'd been planning escape routes for, it was happening. The next few days were cold. You know when you interact with someone like normal, but there's this tension sitting between you? Heavy, unspoken. That's what my remaining days at home felt like. We'd pass each other, say good morning, eat meals, but underneath, ice. Then, about a week later, we finally had the conversation. My mother sat me down. She'd been praying, trying to understand, and through her tears, through her confusion, through her very obvious heartbreak, she said something I'll never forget. You're still my daughter. I don't understand this. I'm not happy about it, and I want you to change. Then she referenced the Bible. Of course she did. She's a Nigerian mother. It wasn't acceptance, not really. She made it clear she didn't approve. But it also wasn't rejection. It was complicated love, painful love, the kind that doesn't fit into neat categories. So where are we now, 5 years later? The truth is, it's still complicated. My mother knows, she loves me, but we don't talk about it. I moved out 2 years ago, partly for independence, partly because the unspoken tension was suffocating. I don't mention who I'm dating. I only wonder what goes on in her mind when I introduce her to new female friends. Does she analyze them? Does she worry? Does she pray? There's an unspoken agreement between us. I can be who I am, but not loudly, not visibly. Don't ask, don't tell. Is that ideal? No. Is it what I wished for when I imagined coming out? Absolutely not. But is it better than living in that constant state of hypervigilance? Yes. God, yes. I can breathe now. I don't have to perform straightness every second I'm around her. This is Our TrueColors, where we celebrate LGBTQ+ life in every shade. The messy ones, the complicated ones, the ones that don't have neat endings. If this story resonated with you, if you've been through something similar, share your experience in the comments. Not because you owe anyone your story, but because sometimes it helps to know we're not alone. And if you're scared of being outed, next video, we're talking about what to do when your worst fear happens. Practical advice, survival strategies, and how to protect yourself in homophobic environments. Subscribe so you don't miss it. My choice was taken from me, but I can still pass on the tools I never got. Subscribe for more honest conversations about the queer experience. Remember, your story is yours, even when someone tries to tell it for you. Show us your true colors. We're here for all of them.